What is up, guys? It is Travis here, and in today's video we have the sad reality of what Colby Covington's MMA career is in 2024 and going into 2025. So UFC Tampa just ended this weekend, Saturday, where it was Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley in the main event. And Colby Covington lost via doctor stoppage. That is right. Joaquin Buckley is the modern-day Picasso, painting the octagon canvas with Colby Covington's blood as his paint, right? It was one of the bloodiest fights I've ever seen. It just was vicious all around. Buckley was whooping Covington. And this is coming after a bad Covington lost to Leon Edwards. What lies in store for Colby Covington and what is next for him, right? Colby Covington is not necessarily a young up-and-comer or someone in the prime of his career, and he is dropping in the rankings after multiple losses. So what are we going to do with Colby Covington? What is he going to do going forward? So right here, I have the UFC rankings pulled up. These are the welterweight rankings. We know Belal's the champ, yada, yada, yada. Colby Covington, after this fight, has dropped down to 9th place, while Joaquin Buckley has moved up to 6th. So as you look up the ranks, there's nobody for Covington to fight. You don't get to lose 2 fights in a row and fight up the rankings, nor do you really fight anyone close to you. You have to take a fight down the rankings, especially at his age. And if we look down the rankings, he'd likely to be fighting a young up-and-comer prospect like maybe Carlos Paredes, who needs to fight up the rankings, make a name for himself. He's on a winning streak. And if we think how a fight against Carlos Paredes would go for Colby Covington, I think it will be similarly bad to a Buckley fight. Yes, Buckley is better than Paredes, but Paredes has been looking phenomenal in his recent fights. And I believe the vast majority of people, I think the Vegas odds would agree, that Paredes would be a favorite going into that fight. You know, he's not going to fight Jeff Neal, not going to fight Morales, but he's not going to fight Vicente Luque, not MVP as his next fight. So really the only options I see are Stephen Thompson and Carlos Paredes. There's no reason for Stephen Thompson to get the fight because he just lost his last fight. But we know Colby's been going at Stephen Thompson for years now. You know, Stephen's just the nicest dude ever, right? But they've been going at it for years now. Not really Steven, just Colby insulting him. But that would be a winnable fight for Colby. But then again, that's 2 older guys at the end of their careers in the rankings fighting each other. It's more or less a pointless fight, but it's one of the better fights you could put on for him if you want him to have like one more good fight before he starts sailing out. Both these guys sailing out of their careers and going into retirement. But if you put him against Carlos Paredes, I just really don't think that's a fight Colby's likely to win. He can win that, but I think Carlos Paredes just keeps getting better and better right now, and I think that he would definitely be the favorite going into that fight. So if we look at Colby Covington's recent fights, 2024, last week, as we mentioned, he just lost to Joaquin Buckley. Didn't fight at all besides that. You had 12 months out of the year, didn't fight. Last year, he hasn't fought since December, literally a year ago, and fought Leon Edwards and got dominated on the feet and on the ground, which that's where Covington is supposed to have this amazing edge over Edwards, is his wrestling. And Leon Edwards is known for his striking. He's a striker, and he got dominated by Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards couldn't wrestle with Belal, so imagine what Colby versus someone like Belal, who's at the top of his division, would look like. And Colby's talking about making another title run, saying he'd beat Belal, but that's just so laughable. Go back to 2022. Colby beat Jorge Masvidal, who was near the end of his career and not an insanely good fighter to begin with. This was more or less a grudge match because they had ongoing beef. We go back to 2021. He lost to Kamari Osman, who is an amazing fighter, and it was a good fight, but he lost. Go back to 2020. He beat Tyron Woodley, who was old and at the end of his career. I mean, we got Tyron Woodley getting knocked out by Jake Paul, right? We go back to 2019, he lost to Kamari Osman, and he beat Robbie Lawler. And so now we're already all the way back 2019, 2018, back when Colby was in his prime and looking good. Colby Covington is 36 years old. So that's when we really ask ourselves, like, what is in store left for Colby Covington's career, and how does this go out? He's talked about making another run at the title, but I just don't see it happening. We see him saying things like, oh, he didn't do a training camp, yada, 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 not bad for a training camp. But before the fight, he's talking about how it was good he wasn't doing a training camp. So it kind of seems he's grasping onto whatever he could find here. I don't see any favorable matchups for him. I think him versus Steven Thompson would be a relatively good fight. It's a good striker versus a good grappler. It'd be fine to see. Both fighters probably looking towards retirement in the near future after that. And in a fight against him versus Carlos Paredes, I just think it would go horribly. So I don't really see the logical matchup for Colby Covington coming up here. And I just think it's a really unfortunate stage we're at in his career due to him being very inactive and only fighting once a year. This is where we're at. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This isn't a video to slander him at all. These are just my opinions, so don't go slandering him. That is not my intention at all. I just think that this is the state of his career, and it's unfortunate because he did have a lot of potential and was very good at one point, but maybe we see him get back to that stage, maybe we don't. Let me know what you guys think down below, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.